Hey guys, welcome to the video. Today I'm just doing a review on the Hot Wheels Rollout Raceway set. Now, just like with the previous Hot Wheels track I reviewed, I'm looking at this through a lens of a budget starting point for diecast racing. Now, I did my previous Hot Wheels track, which I will be referencing later on in the video a few times, and then I came across this product, which I think is just slightly better for my circumstances. I kind of turned my nose up at this for a long time because I used to work in a toy shop, and I kind of just assumed that like there was not really much to it. But when I saw an image of it in action and realized it had a fair start gate and it's going to be a lot lower down to the ground than the one I have, I figured this was going to be pretty good to get. Now, there are a lot of really cool features to this that I think give it a lot of versatility. So I think it is good for that downhill racing thing, at least in terms of like a starting point. It's also really good for storage, and you know, if your kid wants to have a track but you're a bit nervous about getting like cars all over the place, I think this is very helpful for that as well. So first of all, we'll take a look at the product itself. So we've got the Rollout Raceway on the front. You can see there we have an ending gate as well, and we also have this little green car on the side, but we'll get into that a bit more later. On the back there we have some back blurb about, you know, what you can do with the raceway, etc., and so on and so forth. So first of all, we need to get into this by pulling this tab. So we're going to pull this down, and that's just going to rip a few times. And there's actually there's instructions on the inside of the card there, so that's interesting. So there's just a little flap on the inside there, basically showing you how to use it. And I don't think we're really going to need that, but that's a nice little detail. So we're going to take this cardboard wrapping and put that in the recycling, and this is what we are looking at. So essentially the track, as is in the name, rolls out. And what I'm hoping is that despite this being a very small track, which is a detriment to it in some ways, I'm hoping this is going to be ideal for a very small downhill racing setup. And I was hoping it would fit on this desk, but apparently not. I mean, if we put the end gate up, no, it's a little bit too short. So we've now got the track rolled out. I was both hoping that this would fit on my desk for the terms of this video and in terms of doing downhill races, but unfortunately not. But it's still relatively small, and we'll just get into the features. So as you can see, this is kind of how it's set up. You just lay the barrel itself out flat, and that holds the track up at an angle. We've got the start gate here, which I think is a little bit more fair than the one in the other track, but we'll get into that as well. We also have the flags at the end here, which all have a number on, which tells you in which order they came in, which is one complaint I had with the other track as well, was that it wasn't necessarily easy to tell with the other track who won. Finally, we have the little green car there. We'll get into that in a second. But yeah, this is the set basically. And there are a few things that I prefer this to the other track for. First of all, with this being like rolled out hard plastic, it's a little bit more firm than the average track, which makes it suited better to diecast racing, purely because you don't have to keep pulling the track pieces out and artificially bending them over time when you're setting up and taking down the track, which, you know, the purpose of this is that I need a mobile track I can store away. So that's really, really good. Additionally, my nephew's going to be playing with this, and you know, it's a little bit more sturdy than the Hot Wheels tracks. It's good for that reason. Now, it is a relatively short kind of drag strip, but the thing is, because it's so low down, it's going to be much easier to frame in a video than the multi-lane speed box. I believe that the start gate is a little bit more fair because, as you can see, you press it and it goes down. It's that simple. Whereas if I get the multi-lane one, you can see that if I flick the gate down, it's fine. Everything goes down at the same time. But if I hesitate, they go down at like different times. Like if you can see there, that one on the end is going a little bit slower than the one on the way in. So if you hesitate while flicking this, then, you know, it can lead to an unfair start. Additionally, it's literally just flick it and it goes. which means it's a lot sturdier. The fact that this has to clip onto a table means you could knock it at the start of a race or whatever. So yeah, for those reasons, I think it is a bit better than the multi-lane Speedbox. And my exact description of it when I found it was slightly superior in every way to the one to the Speedbox. And it also has the same feature as the Speedbox in that it has these track extensions on the end. So I could theoretically have the Speedbox track feeding into this for a 2-stage race. In terms of length, the track is exactly 2 track pieces long. It's just, I'm having to hold the light and the phone at the same time, so I can't hold it right at the top. But it's 2 track pieces long, so with the start gate, it's slightly shorter than 2 track pieces. And just before I forget to add this detail as well, you can add track to the end here. The end gate is not removable, so unfortunately you can't like move that down to have it at the end of the track. That's always going to be there. Additionally, with this end gate, although it is pretty cool, actually it's a little bit better than the one that I saw. A little bit better and a little bit worse. The way that this gate has been in videos I've seen so far is that it had little elastic bands going through here. Now, I guess we don't have those elastic bands anywhere that hook onto here and here and just make it like flick up a bit better. So you are going to have to rely on the car hitting the flag hard enough to send it up there, I guess. But my complaint with it, the way it was that, you know, you're going to have to replace those elastic bands anyway at some stage if you're using this for a long period of time. So, you know, that's kind of better, kind of worse, I guess. There's the numbers on the other side of the gate so that you can just see them. And obviously it has a lane number on the other side, just in case. And a final couple of features in this one, of course, is that we've got the carrying handle in there. You could store up to 80 cars in the barrel itself, making it very useful for storage. If you're just looking for something to store your Hot Wheels in, this is great for that on its own. And the fact that it doubles as a track is even better. And you can also fit 5 track pieces in this here, although extra pieces of track are not supplied with this track. And that's about everything I think I have for that. So let's get into the car. Okay, so that interestingly has been security tagged in, so I guess we're gonna have to cut that. Hopefully these scissors are going to be able to get through there. Yep, actually it's fairly weak security tag, I guess. Okay. So we all know this is the most fun part of getting a new track, is the car that it comes with. And you always get like quite a generic model, but at the same time, like they can be quite interesting in their own right. So let's see what we're working with here. I guess you can kind of see what I mean about it without the cardboard on, that it just looks like sort of dull plastic, I guess. So here is the car that we're looking at. It's a little bit different. I wasn't expecting it to be green, I'll be completely honest. Let's take a look. So, first of all, let's see what model it is. It is Symbolic. Okay, cool. We've got no copyright year there. Nothing in terms of a build year or anything there, but that's okay. We've got the recycling logo on the side there with some nice sort of yellow and gold decals. The little tiny Hot Wheels logo off to the side there. There is like the front grille. Like chrome decals around the side. Nice like green, glittery green finish on the top. And these gold wheels as well. And there is the back of the vehicle. Very, very interesting. And promoting a positive message of recycling as well. So, the final thing that I've got to do here is get into a race. We've got to do another race. And what we're going to do is we're going to do exactly the same pieces of 8 race that I did to review the previous track, except we're going to change it slightly. So we're still going to have the Gazella in there. We're also going to have the Chevy Silverado from my Matchbox garage. And we'll round it off with and we'll round it off with the power panel, since that managed to come to have 2 DNFs in the actual pieces of 8 derby. So we'll see how that fares on this track, and let's get into that. And one final plus that I've just remembered I need to mention that makes this slightly better than the multi-lane speedbox is that part of the thing that I was aiming for with buying a track for downhill races was having multiple lanes. You know, something that wasn't just 1v1 or anything like that. There's 4 lanes in the multi-lane speedbox, and there are 5 lanes in this. So I guess we need another car in our Pieces of 8 race. So, welcome back to the Pieces of 8 race, to the Honda CRX. Power panel van has just gotten stuck there. I guess it didn't have enough clearance to get over the gate before it goes back up, which is another minus, I guess, the fact that that can happen with longer vehicles, you know. But yeah, I mean, it's not a big deal. Okay, so it's now somewhere around a month later, and I've realized it's time to finally finish this review. And basically, I ran into an issue while trying to do a test lap with it, in that the gate didn't come with the elastic bands on it, which you need for it to work, basically. So that was a major difficulty, and then I spent a little while racing around the house trying to find my mum's loom bands, because she happened to have been into that at one stage. Otherwise I would have been more or less high and dry, and I did eventually find them all, but the whole thing kind of just put a sour taste in my mouth. Took me a little while to remember to actually make this video, and after having a bit of a look into it on videos, it seems like some people receive them with the elastic bands attached, as it should be, and some people don't. And you know, I can't say I've seen a review of this that really sort of mentions it at all. But yeah, it was a bit of a pain, because it might only be a couple of like elastic loom bands, which I really don't know how to actually show you guys this, how to actually frame this. Let's just put it on the side like that, because it might actually just be a few like little valueless loom bands, but it's not really the point. If it needs it to function for the design of the product, and it isn't there, then the product is incomplete. And I just, you know, I don't like that. Like, it's lucky that I happen to have had some loom bands in the house already. It happened to be one of my mum's things at one stage that I could find these, and I actually put a load of them aside for wrestling animations and stuff, for holding figures together and all that kind of stuff. So it's quite lucky that I actually had these at all. Now, the way you attach these is actually outlined in the outer carding, which I didn't notice straight away, and also threw away weeks ago, forgetting that I needed to finish this video. But essentially, you need to put the band through these tiny, tiny holes, hook it on one end, hook it on there, which is much easier, and then put it through that side as well. So that's a massive pain, and these loom bands are going to eventually wear out. Another issue that I noticed, I'm pretty sure it's not intentional, although the hook is different, is that this hook is shorter than all the others, and it clips in a little better. Like, the hook is pointier at the bottom there, but it is shorter than the others. So I don't know if that's designed to be that way, because, you know, it's the center one, so it doesn't, the band doesn't have to travel as far. But yeah, so that's a massive L as far as I'm concerned for the set. And we may as well then get into some more criticisms I've noticed, I've come up with over the time. So we mentioned the start gate earlier in the video and how it just springs back up. Now, that's fine, because you can just hold it down to let the cars get the full clearance. However, it's getting that into your brain that you need to keep, like, you need to not just knock it, you need to hold it down, and it's remembering every time. I feel like you are going to get some false starts with this, because, you know, you might make 100 videos and then in one you just happen to give it a quick flick and it doesn't really do the job. Now, the next thing is that when the track is rolled out, it's possible for the barrel to not sit quite flat. Like, it's possible for you to have it rolled out like that and have the barrel on an angle. So I think, you know, you need to make sure it's perfectly flat. and ideally you need to be on a flat surface. I'm not convinced carpet etc can really do it, because the thing is, you don't really want to knock it if it's sitting on an angle like this. If it's actually like that and you don't really notice, and then you flick the thing, it's going to move, and you don't really want to again have a bit of a false start. You know, you're just going to end up doing everything over again. So it's a bit of a downside, but again, you know, it's really the elastic bands that are killer for me, as silly as that little problem with it is. So that being said, let's once again stack up the cars and get ready to test out the track. And hopefully everything's going to go okay this time. All right. So, holding it perfectly flat, I'm going to hold the button in. 3, 2, 1. And the winner there was whoever was in lane 2, which I believe was the Silverado. Nice. Not bad. So, here's what's interesting about the flags, is we can see that number 5 came in last, number 1 came in 4th, number 4 came in 3rd, number 3 came in 2nd, and number 2 came in 1st. And I like that it puts them all in order, because it isn't like readily visible who won the race, because it's such a short track. And, you know, if you just want to film a couple of lengths really quickly without having to kind of check back the footage of what happened, who came where, then obviously the flags can be very helpful, and you can just, you know, jot it down however you need to, and so on and so forth. So, all in all, I would say, although it is a massive minus, the fact that it just does not come with all the parts you need to make it work, that is fixable at the end of the day. You know, it isn't difficult to get a couple of little elastic bands to complete the set. And ultimately, I think it's the best of a bad situation, and it is the best option for, you know, my purposes, having a small, movable track with multiple lanes for little drag races that I can just move around and, you know, have fairly, you know, reasonably balanced races with. So ultimately, yeah, bit of a mixed bag. If you get one with elastic bands, even better. If you don't, you know, it's fixable, but that is shocking, don't get me wrong. And other than that, most of the problems with this set come from, like, practically setting it up, which, you know, again, aren't really a big deal, and you can definitely work around it. I think it's really cleverly designed. I think the amount of lanes you get is really cool. I think, you know, the carrying handle, the place for, like, track, the fact that you can store a load of cars in it, I think it's really, really intelligently designed. I think it's a great product at the end of the day. Just a shame about those elastic bands. But yeah, apart from that, I do think this is a really good product. It's only like 20 something pounds, like 23 pounds, I think, at Smith's. It's really good for storage, and it's a little bit more interesting than just having like a storage box or something. There's a bit more going on for it. It does have a pretty sturdy start gate, so I think that's really cool. I think that's something that's really got going for it. And I think as a budget option, this is pretty interesting. If you enjoyed this video, please do check out the Disaster Garage playlist at the end. And I do have another Hot Wheels track review in the multi-lane speed box that I've mentioned a few times in there as well. Thank you guys for watching, and goodbye.